Nick Lattimore with Connect Lax with the legendary coach Jeff Brameier. Going to be talking about National 175 Showcase.
Well, appreciate you guys coming out, and certainly looking forward to developing a relationship with you guys. My resume is probably more about length than anything else. I've been at Darien High School for 33 years, as a lacrosse coach, and I was there for a lot more years than that before I started lacrosse. I started teaching in '77 as I got out of college, but I also graduated from Darien High School, so it's it's a full circle type of thing. What draws coaches to an event is the quality of the event, and the quality is multifaceted. Number one, you got to bring quality athletes, and you got to make sure you're putting them, you're bringing as good a kid as you possibly can for the college coach to show up, and you're making that reason. And then it goes the other way, for the kids to come, you got to make sure the college coaches are coming. So we kind of have to do both. Right. In all the events you run, if you tell them you're going to have college coaches there, you better deliver that. Yep. And if you tell the college coaches you're going to have quality athletes there, you better deliver it. So it's we feel pretty strongly about the fact that we're able to do that, and it's driven by by a number of facets. Number one, we have a pretty good relationship with a lot of the college coaches. We have great relationships with a lot of high school programs and a lot of club team programs. The enrollment under control, keep the number of fields that the coaches have to cover, particularly in the showcases, down into a minimum. Most of our showcases are four field showcases, so you're not at those coaches aren't going to have to go to circle a field of 12. They're going to be in and around 4 different fields, and we kind of also gear it mixing and matching the grad years, so that we know that Division III grad year is going to be different than Division I grad year, so that we kind of have the fields set up so that this might be a Division I field because it's got a younger group of kids involved, and sure. And this could be a D3 grad year because it's got the rising seniors and stuff like that. I think our venues are another big piece to it. We have put ourselves in 3 of the traditional hotbeds.
Sure.
We now have an event in Baltimore. We have an event in Long Island. And we have an event in Philly. So, and those are geared around both individual and club team showcases. And then, and then we have. Our flagship summer showcase is kind of a culminating summer showcase, 3-day, sure. Up at a tremendous D3 facility that has the likes of a D1 facility. It's called RPI. Mm-hmm. It's a great stadium, with kind of a D1 flair to it, mm-hmm. and then it has contiguous turf fields outside. Seminar speakers from some of the, to talk about the recruiting process, and some of those are from the top programs in the country, from Cornell to Virginia to Bucknell and dynamics of Lafayette, and then we have a D3 flavor with having Tufts come in and Union, just so that the kids get a whole idea of what each type of school is dealing with in the recruiting.
Yeah, which is totally very important.
Yeah, I think our recruiting seminars are as good as any as I've seen. Want to have open application process so that any kid that wants a chance to get in has that, and so that's true of all 4 of our showcases during the summer. Whether the 1 days or the before the individual or before the club team tournaments, or the 3-day. Mm-hmm. You can go online and you can apply. You can ask your club team or your high school coach to send in a recommendation, and we vet each kid and try to make decisions based on positional needs. Right now we've got 13 quality club programs involved in the Passport Alliance. We expect that to grow as people see the benefits of being involved in that,
Sure.
and as we vet other top clubs, across the nation. And those coaches, appreciate the opportunity to just say, it's streamlined for me. I've got 4 showcases that I can send my kids to. I don't have to worry. If I know they're a top kid, the chances of them getting in are very strong.
Right.
So that's the relationship that we tried to foster between the Nat 175 and the Passport Alliance. Is look, the whole thing is about getting your kids an opportunity and making it, as I said, streamlining it, that you don't have to, I get, as a club director and as a high school coach, I get constant questions. Is this a good showcase to go to? Is that a good showcase to go to? So, my belief is now we've allowed those Passport Alliance people, a little bit of, just go to one of our 4 and you're good. Well, the flagship event, the Nat 175 Summer Showcase, is a 3-day event that goes from Monday midday. They check in between 11 and 1. They have their first. They get their dorm assignments. They get their team assignments. They get all their gear. Which is another part of the showcase environment. You got to have a good gear package, which we traditionally do. So after checking in, they get settled in a dorm, and they're going to have a team practice with their team that they're assigned to for the duration. And they get that in that first afternoon. They go to dinner, and then we start our first round of games. Mm-hmm. So every kid the first day is getting a great practice, a great game, and then that night we have a tremendous seminar with the likes of what I talked about before. So that's the first night or first full day. The next, they get dinner, and we do kind of fun things with, pizzas and stuff like that, pizza parties and stuff, and they have lights out at about 11 and get up, the next day. They have a great meal plan, great dining hall at the facility, so the kids have been good with that. They get up, they have a game in the morning, and when they're not playing, they're free to walk around and watch the other games, interact with some of the coaches. I think that's the key part about the summer showcases. The coaches are there. They're not just on the sidelines. They're interacting, coaching teams.
Yep.
When they're not coaching a team, they're on the sidelines, but they're very visible, and there is a fair amount of interaction between the coaches and whatnot. And
total different dynamic.
Yeah, it's definitely a good flavor, and we continue to try to foster other things, and we change the dynamics every year. So we're probably going to be looking at all-star games. Obviously we're dealing with you, and coming into our company. We're going to be looking at more blogging and more what I would consider more publicity for the players at our event, that are going to get some kind of, hey, this Joe Smith had a phenomenal game in his first round. They have 3 games on that day. We have another kind of fun seminar night the Tuesday night. They get up on Wednesday, play 2 games, and then they're heading out to their next gig, or hopefully for many of them their summer vacation.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's
soak it up, go water skiing or
so
something.
that's the way our 3-day works. We have 3 one-day showcases that are all tied into our club team events. They're the day before the club team tournament starts. They're a one-shot deal of come in, do a similar thing, check in, get assigned your team, get a little warm up with them, get to know them, but then play, and they get 3 games in that one day just to kind of showcase, and again they'll be coached by college coaches. We like to vary the coaches you each game, so that you're not stuck with the same coach, or the same coach isn't stuck with you.
Yep.
Gives them a little bit, they get more contact that way, and it's we feel it's important to spin it versus at our fall showcase, we had multiple kids saying, this was the best event that I was at all fall because they got so many touches and so many reps, and that they definitely felt like it was a great one-day event for them. So.
Yeah, you love hearing that.
Showcases are a different animal. Because you're playing, usually you're playing with kids you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
You're playing in an environment where it's individual, and you have to be careful that you don't lose sight of the team game.
Yeah.
And some of the kids you're playing with, can be very, very, one-sided that way. I encourage kids to, be aggressive. But understand that coaches are going to look for the full package. They're going to look for a kid that can score, but they're going to look for a kid that can initiate and then create scoring opportunities. On the offensive side, on the defensive side, they're going to look for a kid that can really play great on the ball, but is great off the ball. Mm-hmm. And the most important thing is you got to demonstrate speed, athleticism. Size is still going to be an impact in a lot of ways, although we are happy that our sport still has a spot for those little guys. Got to find a way to stand out.
So you're saying just remain confident, know who you are, know how you got yourself there, and
yep.
just really, really showcase that.
Yeah.
Showcase.
Yeah. I was looking for was an event that I could guarantee I'd have coaches at, so that's what parents have to be looking for. Is there going to be coaches there? You hate to go as a club team, take your team to a tournament that you call it, you're telling them it's a recruiting event, and there's one coach on the field or none, or they're all focused on one stadium field and they never venture out, and you never get to the stadium field. Those are frustrating things for club directors, high school coaches, and the parents and players of the event. That if there's so many fields, then and the coaches aren't getting to them, then it's a difficult selling point.
Yeah.
So we try to make sure that we keep our events under control, size-wise. We have we also understand that when you want to have great competition, you may need to have bigger events to have that great competition. Mm-hmm. But we have small boutique events, and then we have a little bit more national huge exposure events. But
sure.
I think they're all geared to the same thing, is great competition first. And that's another thing, is that if the coaches don't feel that there's great programs going, they're not going to come in as often. But if you bring in great programs like we do, we have, obviously in our alliance we have 13 programs that we feel are of great strength, from the Dukes to the Twist in the Pennsylvania area to the Rock in the Baltimore area, got New Jersey Riot. And Team Turnpike in the New Jersey area. You've got the Connecticut Chargers in the Fairfield County area. We've got Outlaws and Team Long Island from Long Island.
Sure,
we got the Crush from the Syracuse area. Mm-hmm. We've got the Coast to Coast in the Georgia area, which is growing in the Atlanta area. Mm-hmm. And we've got two programs from Carolina, in Team Carolina and Triad Elite. So, we feel like that's a great starting point. Yeah. And then we like to believe that we vet other teams coming in the club team events, so that we if they don't want to be an alliance but they want to be a guest in our showcase, we're guaranteeing the coaches that we're trying to bring in some of the best programs. So we have the likes of Sweet Lax and Team Minnesota. We have Advanced coming from California. We have DOCO coming from Colorado. We have Team Washington coming from Seattle. And so that's the other piece is the demographics.
Yeah, all over this is great.
And we're big on that because we think the college coaches are big on that. It will continue to grow as our sport grows, and the NCAA, allowed, or the NCAA schools allow more schools to come in.
Sure.
We're just waiting with bated breath to see the SEC and the the big ones, the Pac-10 and that kind of stuff. All those, the West, as West Coast picks it up, it'll be awesome. That's the other thing I love about the sport is the camaraderie. Throughout the country, it's probably the biggest networked sport out there. You would think that I coached football for 28 years. I played football. I don't feel that football is as networked nationally. Certainly you can go to I used to go to a lot of conventions and a lot of clinics, and I felt that the football coaches did a great job on the college end of passing down their knowledge and that kind of stuff. And I think our college coaches are beginning to do that, and so are our high school coaches. But I think what I love about the game is that the speed and the intensity of it, and that it brings a combination of all the sports that I've been involved with. It's grown to a point where it has a connectivity, and you can walk that into a job interview, and odds are you're gonna meet somebody who has a connection to lacrosse, particularly in certain fields. But I think it's true across the dynamics of many professions, and it's fun. But I think that's only going to continue to get better as we grow the sport.
Absolutely.